15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome everyone to Game Week 14 Preview, another video from Americans Talk FPL. A kind of a lackluster Game Week 13. A lot of the big name players like Bruno and KDB did not have a great return. Obviously King Salah had a great return though. Jason, how did you do Game Week 13?
It was a rough one for me. I captained KDB and thought I made the wrong choice, but in the end, turned out not to be too bad. But the rest of my teams did make up for it, so it was a rough week. But only a little bit of a red arrow, because I think a lot of people had a rough week.
Yeah, pretty much a rough week all around.
Yeah.
Before we start the video, just want to say we really appreciate hitting that 100 subscriber goal. We also really appreciate the likes and the comments on the videos. And likes, comments, and subscriptions are always very much appreciated here. Also want to quickly shout out Fantasy Football Scout. We're proud to be part of the Fantasy Football Scout Academy, as well as FPL Talking Points. Check out their website for other great podcasts. In this video, we'll be going over our Game Week 13 recap, our teams, the schedule, some players that we have on our watch list, and then our final recommendations. Jason, you ready to get into the video?
Let's do it. At the end, we also have a nice sneak peek into the blank Game Week 18 and Double Game Week 19. Some of our initial thoughts. We're going to do a deep dive into that within the next couple of weeks. We just want to get a quick preview.
That just got released, so we're still kind of analyzing and strategizing on it.
Yeah, some interesting options, but we'll get to that. Let's start off with the recap.
All right, tell me. All right, so in Game Week 13, Wolves beat the underperforming Chelsea. Timo Werner definitely had another tough game, as well as Havertz.
Yep.
City kind of had difficulty with West Bromwich. And they ended up in a draw. Arsenal saw red, and Saints ended up with the draw with them. Leeds did very well against Newcastle.
Yep.
And Everton and Leicester blanked. Everton's defense, different kind of formation with the injuries, and much more solid, right, Jason?
Yeah, it's very interesting how they played Holgate and Godfrey as wingbacks. Really added some defensive solidity to the team when they shut out Leicester, but there was noticeably fewer chances up top, so it had a negative effect on Calvert-Lewin, but he still managed an assist. Almost a goal, if not for a Schmeichel wonder save, so it wasn't all bad. And then It's kind of moving on from there. Fulham and Brighton, 0-0 draw, kind of boring. Good for Lamptey to get some points when he's on my bench, of course. Liverpool just beat Spurs 2-1 in a top-of-the-table clash. I'll let everyone else debate over who is the best team in that, because that seems to be a huge talking point right now. I thought both teams kind of played to their game plans pretty well overall. Obviously, Spurs wanted to concede possession to Liverpool and hit them on the counter, which worked pretty well. Son with the goal. Liverpool, they did pull out the winner off a set piece and kind of an Achilles heel of Tottenham for a while. But interesting match. I think Liverpool probably were the deserved winners, but I think a draw could have been fair as well. Tough to say. Moving on from that, West Ham drew Crystal Palace 1-1. Had a Hilaire wonder goal in that one. Nice bicycle kick. Check that out on YouTube if you haven't yet. Aston Villa could not beat Burnley. Created what seemed like, 30 chances or so, but just nothing would go in for them. So I'm hurting a little bit from investing in Watkins and Grealish. But got to keep the faith for a few more weeks. I think they'll get some points at some point here. Man United ended up beating Sheffield. They went down early, which they seem to do every game this year. Came back, took a 3-1 lead with Rashford and Martial kind of the catalysts. Pogba playing well behind them, as well as Bruno. Then towards the end, they just kind of had to hold on for dear life. Sheffield kind of threw themselves for the victory. But overall, pretty good match there. I thought United were pretty decent, minus the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes. All right, so let's move on to your squad, Birat.
Yeah, I was very fortunate that I was one of the ones that don't own Bruno Fernandes, and he had his first away game week blank ever in the Premier League.
Crazy.
I do have 4.0 in the bank currently. My goal is somehow to get Bruno Fernandes on my team. I'm still so that's gonna be plan. That's plan 1. Plan 2 is gonna be just go without Bruno and kind of upgrade other people on my team. Specifically, my defense, I could bring in Robertson, and then for my fourth midfielder, maybe if Pulisic does well, I could grab him in. A lot of things I can do with 4.0 in the bank.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Overall, yeah, my team did fairly poor, as everyone, the average was somewhere in the 30s, so I was kind of happy about that. My overall rank kind of dropped just mildly. I'm top 31k or so. So I'm pretty content and happy with my results so far.
Yeah.
Overall, these next few games, like I kind of said, I'm just kind of scouting. I might save this transfer, keep it in, so I can have 2 transfers in the bank to really play with my team a bit.
Right.
Jason, how'd your team fare?
1 point better than your team, so I guess not bad. I did have a slight ranking drop, unfortunately. But, yeah, it was interesting. So I captained Bruno, or De Bruyne, who somehow got 2 bonus points despite blanking otherwise, which is a nice little surprise. But, yeah, Villa kind of disappointed me with Watkins and Grealish. I was really expecting some returns based on all the chances they got. City definitely... I needed more points. Cancelo did start, which I was thrilled at when I saw. Then, of course, he only gets a 1-pointer after starting. Yeah, a lot of big hitters kind of blanked this week. Had Lamptey on my bench, who was one of my top scorers, of course. But, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do anything too major for this next week. I might just do a conservative transfer to save some money somewhere. I might downgrade Cresswell to Soufal or something just to save some money. As I try and find a way to get Son or Kane into my team. So nothing too crazy at this point.
Right. All right. Let's just move to the schedule. Jason, tell me a little bit about some teams you're looking at right now with the fixtures.
Yeah, so the fixtures I'm looking at right now, I'm just going to kind of ignore the blank and the double game week for now, because we'll touch on that later. So I'm just going to comment on the ones in which there's friendly fixtures, I guess, excluding, blank and double game weeks. So the big 3 that stand out are Liverpool, Man City, Man United. They all have a great fixture in the coming game week and then go on a nice little run for a while. So I think, in my team, you'll see Bruno, KDB, and Salah all in there. I think that's I'm assuming they're going to get some nice points over the next 5 to 6 game weeks here. But moving further down, Spurs have been on a pretty tough fixture run lately, but that's going to be changing pretty soon. They are facing Leicester in game week 14, who will be getting Johnny Evans back and maybe Soyuncu as well. Then after that, though, they go on a nice fixture run. That's where I want to get Kane or Son into my team for that. Starting game week 15 or 16, depending on how you rate Wolves right now. Last one, kind of some budget options. West Ham have some really nice fixtures coming up after this Chelsea match. But based on the way Chelsea have played against Wolves. Who knows that's even a bad fixture at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the key things here is a lot of the budget teams are seeing an end to their great fixture runs. They all have little bumps in the roads here and there, so it's a lot of the big teams that are kind of going on a run right now.
Yeah, the Manchesters, Liverpools, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we'll talk more about game weeks 18 and 19 later.
Yep.
Let's go to the wish list. Some new additions would be Christian Pulisic. To me, it seems that Timo Werner has been underperforming. Pulisic finally healthy. I think he's been given a chance here, and I want to see what he does with it. Jason, who are you looking at in the watch list?
So number one on my watch list right now is Son. I want to find a way to get him into my team. It'll probably take me scraping up together points here and there, so eventually I can upgrade Grealish to Son once Villa's nice fixtures are done. But, things can change in the blink of an eye, so I never plan too far in advance. Beyond that, I just transferred in Reece James, so I'm pretty happy with that. He saves a lot of money on Chilwell for me, so naturally Chilwell got an assist as soon as I transferred him out, but I still think that was the right move to do. And I also kind of like Eric Dyer for Tottenham's upcoming run. He seems pretty locked into their defense, and he does have some free kicks in his locker. So that could be an interesting one to look at for this upcoming fixture run for Tottenham.
That's an interesting point. Spurs defense with a good schedule is always nice to look at if you're playing for the clean sheets, especially in the defense. What about Reguilón over Dyer?
I wouldn't. I'm a little concerned about Reguilón getting subbed out and rotated with Ben Davis a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Reguilón, he's a premium priced asset, obviously. I think with Tottenham's nice fixture run, maybe he'll get more playing time. Because like against Liverpool, Davis plays. It's a little more defensive work in that one. But yeah, he'd be an interesting option, though. A little more high risk, high reward. Almost kind of like Cancelo and Diaz for City. Kind of like a mirror of that little battle.
Okay. All right, let's move on. No player spotlight for this week, correct?
Yeah, no player spotlight for this week. I think all of our attention went to game week 18 and 19 for this
Right.
one.
So that'll be this main spotlight. So let's move on to the checklist, Jason.
Yep.
Tell me what's the keys to getting green arrows?
So game week 14, number one, we kind of hinted towards it. Start planning for your game week 18 and 19 right now. You don't have to do anything specifically if you don't need to, but just get a plan together in your head for how you're going to prepare for those game weeks. Number two, I think Villa and Brighton budget assets are ready to deliver this week. They both have nice fixtures. And for me, it's kind of a now or never with some of these assets because I've been kind of disappointed by their returns. So I'm really hoping that they kind of repay my faith this week. Number three, I think Man United versus Leeds this weekend. Expect to see some goals. I'm pretty happy to have Bruno and Bamford involved in that match in my team. So if you have anyone else, I would play them this week and hope some more goals. I wouldn't expect clean sheets in this one. Number four, get ready for the Spurs fixture turn. People like me got out of Son and Kane before their fixtures turned bad, and I have not gotten back in yet, so now I need to find a way. If you've held them, good for you. You got a lot of points by doing that, and now you're going to get a kind fixture run as a thank you. So, good for you if you did that, but if not, start thinking about how you can get them back in, at least one. And five, captain option for this game week. I think for me, Salah's probably my standout option versus Palace, but KDB and Bruno both have a great shout. And if you want to be differential, Kane and Son are never a bad option. But for me, the big three are Salah, KDB, Bruno.
Yep. So for captaincy, Salah's kind of more on form with his goal. always a good idea to pick Salah as a captain. I'd have to check Southampton has had a excellent defense over this past season, but I would like to see how Man City have done in the past against Southampton before I choose KDB. So right now it's a lean Salah for me as well.
Yeah, I think Salah versus Palace has got to be the standout for me. Although Bruno versus Leeds is also pretty interesting with how open I expect that game to be.
Yeah, Bruno's a good shout too. I just don't own him, that's the thing. Alright, so let's go on to our recommendations. It's fairly straightforward from what we've been kind of discussing these past following game weeks. Not too many changes. I still like KDB even though he blanked. I think, Aguero showing signs of maybe getting more minutes. Overall, that's going to help the whole Man City attack. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Bruno Fernandes, I think non-Bruno owners are all kind of lucky to see Man United score 3 goals and not be part of any of them. But I don't expect that to continue. Obviously, he's going to get returns.
Yep.
And Mo Salah, consistent, really the king. Jason, pretty much more of the same for you too, right?
Yeah, it's hard to deviate from these three right now with the fixtures they have and the form that they're in. KDB, I still think I like KDB's form. I think it's more of his City teammates who aren't finishing the chances he's creating. But I think, like you said, with Aguero coming back, that could change soon. So hopefully that kind of springboards KDB's season. But yeah, Salah's hard to look away from right now, and then Fernandes as well. For me, these have got to be the top three over the next 4 game weeks for sure. They're all
so just quickly then, just want to ask you something about these.
Yeah.
So obviously this year there's a lot of elite players, and we can't own them all. Like players that we are not listed right here would be like your Son and your Kane.
Yep.
And maybe you could throw Sterling, Aubameyang. Would you pick these 3 if you had to only pick 3 of the elite players? Would this be your 3?
Over what period of time?
Over the next 4 game weeks.
Next 4 game weeks, yeah, it'd definitely be these 3.
Okay, just wanted to confirm that with you.
Yeah, I think
I'm
Kane and Son, you can argue. I think once their fixtures turn in the coming weeks, they'll be right here in this conversation as well. But with they have Leicester and Wolves, so I'm kind of leaving them off for now. But they're definitely in the same league as these 3 right now.
Mm-hmm. And if he's not in the same exact elite level, and nor is he the same price. But if I were going to do a 4th recommendation, I would definitely put Jack Grealish too.
Yep.
Okay. So, Jason, tell me a little bit about this game week 18 and 19 thoughts.
Okay, so let's start with game week 18 on the left. So there's only going to be 5 fixtures, so there's only these 10 teams that are playing on the screen here. And really, from my initial look at it, I don't think it's worth using any chip this week. The fixtures just aren't strong enough to justify wasting that free hit chip or whatever you want to use just to cover a few more players in this game week. I do think the key for 18 is make sure you have a great City asset and a great Spurs asset that you can captain, whether it be Kane, Son, De Bruyne, whoever. Make sure you have a good captainable asset from one of those teams. And then fill out the rest of your roster with a few budget price players as much as you can. I think my goal for this game is going to be maybe 7 to 8 players that are playing if I'm lucky. Have a good captain and call it good. I don't know what your thoughts on game week 18 are right now, but it's just hard for me to justify doing too much to try and field the full 11 in that week.
Yeah, game week 18, the fixtures don't look great to me at all. Man City Brighton kind of stands out. I think it's a good idea to have at least 2 Man City players even right now.
Yeah.
So I think that could be enough coverage for you. If you want to add a third or something, I'm not against that, but it's just difficult because of we don't know who's going to be the for sure starters all the time when it comes to Man City, especially with these all these like in December, the winter break games in the Prem come fast and
Yeah. Yeah, say yeah, between now and the game week 18, there's a ton of congested fixtures, so whatever we think's good right now could get thrown out the window with a few injuries here and there. So just like I said, plan ahead, but just don't make too many unrevocable decisions at this point.
Mm-hmm. But game week 19 definitely has some interesting things going on with it. Do you think game week 19 maybe could be a potential free hit play?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good options here for your chips. Just a reminder if you have not used your first wild card yet, you have until game week 16 to do that. December 28th is the cutoff. After that, if you really want to use your second wild card this early for game week 19, it's not the worst decision you could make. I just don't know that I would want to do that personally. Because I think, Spurs and City, who play in game week 18, have a pretty nice fixture list after the double game week. So I'd still want to be staying in some of their assets. So I wouldn't, be recommending getting out of them permanently for game week 19, which, to your point, kind of opens up the free hit possibility in 19. Just, get as many of these double game week players as you can in a free hit and revert back to your team if you're already loaded up on, Spurs and City and the teams that have, nice fixture lists at that time. So I think that could be interesting. It's also, bench boost wouldn't be a bad idea. All these teams still have something to play for. The next time we have a double game week, who knows what the league table is going to look like. Some teams maybe, kind of done playing for, they're out of the title race or they're, safe from relegation or whatever. It can be a little more risky waiting until later in the season. So bench boost could also be interesting if you can field a full team doing that.
Yeah. We'll go a little bit more in depth with this in the next game week preview and further ahead as we get closer to this double game week. It's always a good idea to kind of plan what your transfers are going to be ahead of time, ahead of the schedule. So thinking about 4, maybe 5 game weeks ahead is always a good thought, though.
Yeah, I'm going to point out too, for those of you thinking about a triple captain, Liverpool have a double game week here, both games at home against Man United and against Burnley. I think Salah could be a good shout for a triple captain doing that, but we'll see what the teams look like as the time kind of draws near.
Interesting idea, interesting thought. Yeah, I'm gonna wait on that one though.
Yeah, I'm not pulling the trigger or anything yet. I think for me at this point, I'm mostly making conservative transfers to kind of save up some money, see if I can get in Kane or Son for their fixtures, and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah. I'm just kind of still scouting, seeing what Chelsea's attack is going to, if there's going to be any solidarity to choices, and if, elite players like a Pulisic is going to do well. He could be on my team, and perhaps Robertson to strengthen my defense.
Yeah, that'd be a good call.
All right, just want to quickly shout out our league. Brendan has taken over the top spot again. Andromeda FC has climbed a third spot. Jason, you're currently kind of holding on in the 8th spot. So overall, pretty good stuff. I'm second as well.
Yeah, keep in mind this table is still a little old. It doesn't take into account the Thursday games yet. So it will change a little bit on this table. I just didn't want to wait. We had to get this video out before the official graphic was ready.
Yep. Okay, I think that more or less does it for this video. Any final thoughts, kind of, Jason?
Yeah, I would just say, keep tuning in. We're going to keep covering the game week 18 and 19 more and more each week, kind of reshaping our thoughts as we go, get more data on the teams, look out for any possible injuries over this congested period. So just keep checking back in. Hopefully we'll have a more formal plan soon. But that's definitely the talk of the town right now, are these 2 weeks. So we're in for a nice ride here.
Also, I just want to kind of apologize about the no video for me and maybe the decreased audio quality. I'm in the middle of a move, so things have been hectic this winter. If you guys like the video, like, subscribes, comments are always, we always welcome them and are happy to have them. Also, thank you everyone for the 100 subscriptions. Nice to see the YouTube channel growing. If you haven't already, check out Fantasy Football Scout. We did do an Instagram video for them last week. So good stuff from them, and we're proud to be part of their academy. Also want to shout out FPL Talking Points again. Excellent website for all FPL podcasts and articles. All right, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yep, let's go get those green arrows. Quick turnarounds to get your lineups in.
Yep, if you guys want green arrows, follow the channel. That's our goal here, is to get everyone top in their mini leagues and green arrows for everyone.
Yep.
All right, take care, guys.
All right.